Good afternoon. Welcome to Crypto Corner. This is Andy and Nicole. We talked about the crash and the first 2 quarters here of 2021 and what happened, the 6 factors that moved cryptocurrency back about $1 trillion. So now that we're hopefully at a bottom here, close in that range, a lot of people are asking me, what should I do? Where should I go? And my answer to that is a lot of people are asking me, what should I do? Where should I go? And my answer to that is smart contracts. I love coins that have the ability to really solve unique problems. And that's why you look at Bitcoin as 1.0, it had limitations. So Ethereum was really born just like anything, any invention, whether it's a car, a mechanic, a technology, there's always somebody that's going to come out with a prototype or come out with an invention, come out with a let's see if it works. Can we do this? And the answer to that is yes. So now, as it evolves from Bitcoin 1.0 to Ethereum 2.0, and some people say Cardano is, 3.0, well, this is very natural. This is very immature ecosystem. You're going to see a lot of advancements and a lot of breakthrough technology and a lot of problems solved with smart contracts. And I love a lot of coins that are associated with smart contracts. I mean, you've got the original, programmers, coders, whatever you want to call them, and Vitaly and Charles and Gavin. And guess what? Now they all have their own projects. Vitaly's got Ethereum and Charles has got ADA and Gavin's got Polkadot. Competition's good, guys. This isn't a bad thing. I read a lot of the chats and a lot of the rooms that I am, that there's got to be one winner. We're nowhere close to one winner. We're so new into this ecosystem and capitalism and invention and entrepreneurship will improve these coins. Maybe they'd improve it on the speed, maybe the cost, maybe the scalability, maybe the user experience. But it's happening right in front of our face. So don't think of smart contracts as there's got to be one defined winner, because there'll be several. Just like you've got 20 different car companies that are all successful. It might have started with the Ford, the Model T, and then Chevy came along and improved it, made it faster. It's just like anything else. So when I really look at smart contracts, Bitcoin couldn't do them at all. So Ethereum improved that. So Ethereum came along and it was, everybody knows that there's been some, a little bit of rubbing, a little bit of racing going on between these original coders of Ethereum, Charles and Gavin and Vitaly himself. And this is a good thing. This competition spurs fair and equitable trade. It makes things better. I mean, that's why there's multiple car companies, phone companies. Capitalism makes things fair and equitable. Not all people will go with Cardano and not all people will go with Ethereum. Ethereum is in a unique situation. It proved it could set out to implement smart contracts because it was really, or like Charles said, it's a proof of concept. It was successful. So now we know we can do it. How do we improve upon it? How do we make it faster? How do we make it scalable? How do we reduce those damn fees where you can actually use it? If you want to send $20, it doesn't cost you more than what you're sending. So that's a huge problem. So when you look at Ethereum, it was proof of concept. It was really permissionless. It was, it solved a lot of problems and it's highly advanced. Don't get me wrong. Guys, I'm going to invest in all of them. I love Polkadot. I love Cardano. I love Ether. But I like them all for different reasons. I love Ether because it was first to market with smart contracts. It dominates 90% of all dApps. That's a hell of a head start. But with that, it has some issues. And if you've seen here over the last, 90 days or so, it's had some huge issues. It's too slow. It's way too expensive. So what the developers with Ethereum are trying to do is make it more efficient, make it more user-friendly, make it faster. So Ethereum is trying to do that while the protocols are already built, and it's very difficult to do. It's time-consuming. So they brought it to market to see if it could work, and they got the market penetration, which is great. First mover advantage, they took advantage of that, but now that he did it, there's some improvements. So now enter Cardano, now enter Polkadot, and we'll get into it specifically, but Cardano wants to approve and improve upon some of the protocols that Ethereum, because you got to remember, these guys all worked in the same think tank, and they all have different visions of what that future looked like. And quite honestly, the three we've talked about today, they could all be right. So if I was new to cryptocurrency and I wanted a foundational start, I'd start with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polkadot, and Cardano. Why? Because I believe smart contracts will rule not only customer acquisitions, new wallets, monetary velocity. I can see where the value will be determined by the usage of said platforms. There's a lot of very devoted Cardano people. So Cardano's claim to fame is we're going to improve upon that. And then the next video I'll talk just about Cardano and all the different kinds of names that you're going to hear, and they're nothing more than updates to their systems. Just like Cardano, we'll get into this in the next video. Alonzo Blue with smart contract. It was a test, and it went successfully. Started with a test group, because Charles is very into open source academia. He likes to try stuff. He likes to look at other people's vision, where Ethereum just jumped in and got market, knew they'd have some issues because they went from like 1 million users to 1 billion users. And now I know those numbers aren't true, but that's the scaling problem that they have. They found out it worked. Now, how do we improve upon it? So we got one that's already built that's being trying to improved upon. Think of refueling an aircraft in flight. We used to do it in the military. It was dangerous, it was hard, it was time consuming, had to be coordinated just perfectly for the tanker to get the gas into the F-14. That's exactly what Ether is trying to do right now. Can it be done? Sure. Will it take some time? Absolutely. Will they lose some market share? Possibly. And then you have ADA or Cardano coming in that says, okay, we're going to change the way things work. We're going to build in protocols where we have our own treasury, where we have a money-making facet to this ecosystem that will pay for development and research and development in the future. It'll have voting, and it'll have different unique features about it that Ethereum doesn't have. And the way he's starting, he's penetrating a market that is, what, 6, 7, 8 million people? If there's 100 million users in the Bitcoin ecosystem, if you will, I mean, you're pulling in 6, 7% of that market share. So you have Ethereum that's established and trying to improve itself. And then you have Cardano that is doing it through really open source academia, where they incentivize people to come up with unique ideas and problem solving. And they're trying to bring all that together to solve problems like identity, value, people, communication. It needs to be decentralized. There's going to be a treasury component. Something that, Charles claimed that he said, okay, we can do, 1 to 2 million transactions per second. So they're improving scalability. They're trying to do cross-platform interoperability from Windows to mobiles to apps to browsers. So Ethereum's been proven, proof of concept. With Charles, he has a vision, but implementation is the hardest thing of all. So we'll talk about this more specifically, but how these all came about is really governance. They couldn't get along to come up with a solution for Bitcoin, for being used as a daily currency, for example. That's why you have BTC, you got, BTSV, Ethereum Classic, ETH. I mean, these hard forked it was from lack of governance, because they all couldn't get along long enough to make the improvement. So the next thing we'll talk about was, some of the smart contracts you're going to start seeing different names: Alonzo, Byron, some of the Shelley wallet that Nicole just showed you how to set up and use if you had the old wallet. Then there's Basho, which is voting, and the treasury. So there's going to be some different layers and some different protocols that Ethereum doesn't have. And at the end of the day, you're going to make your decision because people buy from people. And in my opinion, Charles is very, he seems like a good old boy, and a lot of people relate to that. Whereas some of these developers, you see, they struggle mightily in social arenas and ecosystems, if you will. They're almost so smart that it's very difficult to understand them. So what I think Cardano does better is they tell stories. They solve problems by committee, by consensus, by not being arrogant enough to say, hey, I know everything. I want to share this with 20 other people and come up with the best solution. And I think for that reason and that reason alone, I absolutely love Cardano. So we'll get into that a little bit more as we move down and start looking for those foundational coins. We're looking for an all-time low here, or not an all-time low. We're looking for the low in this cycle and see if we can get this velocity back up because we've got a lot of work to do now. Like I said, I've seen estimates from 1 trillion to, well, was it $1.3 trillion got sucked out of cryptocurrency here in the second quarter. And that's a big hit to an ecosystem that had an all-time market cap of 2 trillion. So we got our work cut out for us. I wouldn't be discouraged whatsoever. And the more you become accustomed to cryptocurrency, the more you'll understand these huge swings. But the perfect storm just happened the last 90 days. That's all. So get in, get started. Remember, buy the dips. This thing is far from over. So have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July for all of you out there down in the States. And I'm out of my 14-day quarantine. So welcome back to the world. And we'll talk real soon, guys. Take care.